You know I'm right. Episode 40. Right here in the zone on DoubleGSports.com. Nick Durst, joined by Joe Calabrese. And Joe, if you're feeling green, I can understand why. Your Jets, even with the advantage of the bad turf at MetLife Stadium, just absolutely atrocious. Just pathetic, Joe. But how do you feel, and are you surprised?
Am I surprised? I don't know. What I've only been saying for the past, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Yeah, I knew they weren't going to be good. We said this yesterday. The 49ers were going to quickly go up by 2 or 3 scores. And
I called that.
That's exactly what they did.
But then, everyone's like, I called it. We were, Joe and I were on a show, Hard Count podcast, yesterday, their network, with Chris Landry football show. And I said, there's going to be a late Sam Darnold touchdown to give Jets fans hope. And that's exactly what happened. And then I see you went at J Calabrese one on Twitter and went off on Adam Gaze.
I did. And the reason why I went off on him is because there was a moment in the game where the Jets were down 24-3. And it was kind of late in the third quarter. Now, at this point, with the team, even though they were as banged up as they were, and we will get to that right after we do this, even for a team that was banged up, I mean, you're in that position late in the third quarter, and you're at fourth and whatever it was, right by the goal line. You're within, I believe they were in the red zone. And he kicks a field goal. And while I understand it's like fine and dandy that you want to at least try to keep the team within sensible distance, what did Herm Edwards once upon a time say? You play to win the game, right? And when you coach like that, and you take away, I would say decision-making from your players, because Sam can't audible at the line, right? These guys can't get out of these plays. So not only are you hamstringing them into plays that you're trying to push through and to force through, but you're not even so consciously aware of the game scenario where you're giving your guys like a reasonable chance to still be able to win the game. It's just ridiculous. And to me, it acknowledges that on some level, like, you don't believe in your players, or you're possibly quitting on your players. Like, you're tucking your tail between your legs and you're not even trying. And the difference right now, I think, the biggest difference between the Giants and the Jets is the Giants have a compete level, at least with Joe Judge right now. That's a baseline. That's something that you can work with. Whether the talent is there or not, I don't think so yet, but at least what we saw from the Giants yesterday, I mean, yes, they went down 17-0, but I don't know. If you add 10 more seconds to that clock, there's a good chance the Giants win that game. They came all the way back. The defense played well again yesterday. They kept them in the game. The Jets go down by 3 scores, and it's like you're going to somebody's funeral. There's no hope. There's no anything with that. And that's on, to me, the head coach. And to me, yesterday, it seemed like Gase quit on his guys on the field. And when you quit on your guys out on the field, that's it. I don't care if you're overmatched because you have a lack of talent and you need to see it through and you need whatever. But from what I've heard, Adam Gase is an offensive genius, right? Yesterday, he sure looked like a genius to me, and not in the way you want your head coach to be a genius. So it was so disappointing. And again, we knew they were going to lose, right? But it's not right now about losing. I want like small victories right now. Yesterday, I didn't get any of that, which is disappointing and upsetting. So. Maybe not quite a Joe Benigno rant, but I'm just more disappointed with like how you could quit on your team in the middle of a game like that. That's so sad.
I don't know. I mean, I think Gaze was thinking his defense was going to keep him in it, so he said, "Let me get some points on the board here."
Yeah, get the hell out of here. 24-3. You barely moved the ball the whole game. You finally really...
Joe, you sound so depressed right now.
I am depressed. It's so frustrating.
Hey, but look at it this way: the Jets avoided major injury yesterday.
They did. Unlike the Giants and unlike the rest of the league, looks like we're gonna have to go to that, right?
Yeah, we got Saquon Barkley, who I knew right away, torn ACL. He's out for the year. Giants got to sign somebody. I think Devontae Freeman's a free agent. I don't know. Maybe sign him. They got to do something. But Deion Lewis looked good, carried the offense. Sterling Shepard, he got hurt. Your guy Christian McCaffrey, who I picked to be Offensive Player of the Year, is hurt. You picked Barkley.
He's out 4 to 6 weeks.
Barkley's out.
Yeah.
Drew Lock, we both like. He's out 6 weeks with a shoulder injury. You got Bosa.
You know who else is out?
Bosa and Thomas on the 49ers.
Right. Cortland Sutton, too, tore up his knee, and he's out for the season, too. So now the Broncos lose both Drew Lock and Cortland Sutton. So 2 weeks ago, I thought they were going to be a wild card contender, and now with the way everything has broke out the first 2 weeks and all these injuries, I don't know. You know, that's the nature of the game. But, yeah, so Paris Campbell got hurt yesterday, too. Obviously, you mentioned McCaffrey, 4 to 6 weeks. Brashard Perriman. So the Jets didn't fully come out unscathed. So Perriman is hurt. He's out for possibly a couple of weeks here. I believe Will Fuller, too, was also banged up yesterday. And that's obviously not really a shocker considering that he's hurt every year. So I'm trying to think. I think somebody else big was hurt yesterday. But again, it's just like you go down the list.
Bruce Irvin tore his ACL.
There you go. He was injured in the Sunday night game.
Good game.
Very good
Paris
game.
Campbell's hurt. Chris Godwin has clear concussion protocol, so he's going to play in week 3.
Right. Michael Thomas is not playing tonight, so like you go around the league. If you're
Malik
one
Hooker, torn Achilles, out for the year.
There you go. Now that's another one for the Colts.
How about this one? Tyrod Taylor gets a chest injury, and our guy Justin Herbert comes in. He looks really good in the loss. I don't see how you could go back to Tyrod Taylor, even if he's ready next week, with the way Herbert played, Joe.
No. And I think a lot of people were disappointed with the way the Chargers handled the overtime by punting the football and giving it right back to Kansas City. I think they should have went for the win. But that said, I think Herbert played really well yesterday. And yes, did he throw a pick? Sure, but you know, to me, when you're a rookie and you're still in your first or second league, like to me, making those kind of throws are okay because it shows that he's got the knack for making plays, but he still needs to fine tune when he takes those chances. So I thought Herbert yesterday played outstanding. I thought he really gave the Chargers a chance to win that game, and there were times late in that game where the Chargers probably should have grabbed the bull by the horns and were aggressive about it because that's what you need to do in order to beat these top teams. So it didn't happen, but he looked really good yesterday. He looked way better in his first game than I thought he would.
I wish he was a Giant.
You're right.
I wish he was a Giant.
I don't know. I feel like they'd be in the same spot where he shows flashes, but again.
I think the funny thing, you mentioned Michael Thomas. This is an interesting story. The Saints, they sent his ankle MRI to Green Bay, Wisconsin to renowned surgeon Dr. Robert Anderson, who determined that the star wide receiver has a mild ankle sprain. The Saints, they're playing their Week 3 game against the Packers, which is a big-time game because the Packers are a class of their own. But basically it's going to come down to the Green Bay Packers team doctor, Dr. Robert Anderson, gets to decide if their opponent, Michael Thomas on the Saints, gets to play in the game. There's got to be some sort of violation. That should not be happening, don't you think, Joe?
Speaking of the Packers, the one that I was missing was Devontae Adams. He also got hurt yesterday too. I think he, did he pull his hammy in the second half?
Perhaps. And speaking of second halves, are the Falcons kidding? They're the first team since 1933 to lose a game despite scoring 39 points and having 0 turnovers. Up until Sunday, teams have been 440-0. I mean, does this team know how to close out a game? Obviously not, going back to the Super
Obviously
Bowl.
not. Yeah, right. It seems as if there was I think a path or a trajectory for this franchise. And I think in Super Bowl 51, that was really a big time turning point where I feel like if they would have won that game, they were going to perennially just become this like 11, 12, 13 win, indestructible team that feels like, we can do anything. And that disappointing 28-3 lead that they choked up and they lost that game, this franchise has not been the same ever since. Every single time this team is in a close game since that point, they have filtered and lost.
And they got a great offense, but the defense...
And they do have a great offense, but it just seems like the mental makeup of this team is really, really off. And
yeah, maybe they could use...
a lot of reasons, but...
They could maybe use their old former defensive standout, primetime, Deion Sanders, who is going to be the head coach at Jackson State. Joe, what do you think about that? Because... oftentimes, like the really high-profile players, they don't end up becoming coaches. So I'm interested to see if he's going to be able to grind it out.
Yeah, so Deion is one of those guys where he's made so much money doing media stuff throughout the years. To me, I think if he really, truthfully wanted to break in to be a coach, a lot of these players, especially players who come from smaller schools, realize that the only true way for you to not only be respected, but to learn it the right way is to do it properly, which means you should really, start from the ground up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is one of those cases where he's probably not going to be there for more than, 2-3 years at most, I think. But this is really just to get his feet wet, kind of see, can he really coach? To me, I feel like in his mind, he's probably thinking to himself, okay, if I could really truthfully ever have any hope of being a coach, then I have to see if I could coach the lowest level available to me, right? So if he goes to Jackson State and they win games, right, now all of a sudden there's a baseline there. You realize okay, I can coach people, I can coach players, I can coach kids, I can coach players. Right, so if somebody sees that, now all of a sudden, a Division I school may give him an offer. You may see something like him going to Florida State, which is his alma mater, right?
How about the Big Ten, which is going to be returning to play a month from now? And are they going to be eligible for the college football playoff? Because
I believe their schedule is going to be a strict 8-game schedule, right?
Yep. In conference only.
It's in conference only. Yes, they're going to be alive essentially for all the college football.
So what are they going to hold off to make the announcement on who's in the college football playoff till the end of January? It's going to be so late because they're going to be playing Big Ten football in January. And what does that do for Clemson and Alabama? They're going to be okay sitting there for 9 weeks without playing or even knowing if they're going to play. How do you determine? Oh, their SEC season is over. Now maybe just keep practicing because perhaps in 7 weeks we're going to let you know if you're going to play again.
Well, the thing is, obviously, Ohio State, fully healthy with Justin Fields, they are one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the country, right? So if you do the college football playoff, realistically, if the Big Ten ends up playing out this 8-game abbreviated schedule and it's into January, the football and the playoff committee would be totally clueless and utterly lost if Ohio State rolled through those 8 games and won a Big Ten title, and they didn't choose them to play in the playoff just simply because.
Right. And if Rutgers goes undefeated, you got to put Rutgers in. If Greg Schiano comes in undefeated in his first season, you got to put Rutgers in.
Hey, listen, I give it 2 years before he really has that program back. I mean, they were there. Success. Yeah, they were a really legitimate perennial top 25 program when he was there when we were younger.
I think Rutgers is going to be a top 25 program again with Schiano.
Absolutely, because the appeal for Rutgers is this area, which is the tri-state area, right? We're not so much lovers of college football. We love pro football, the Giants are the number 1 team, right? We love our baseball, the Yankees but obviously the Mets are super popular. They dominate a lot of the media and the airwaves that we have here, right? So we're traditional in that sense. But again, it's so big, like the untapped market for college football